The 3 strategies in this video will help you beat any player. No matter if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced player, all 3 of these strategies are proven and tested to help you win. The first strategy that is super important to know that works at every level is to consistently hit your balls at your opponent's toes. Now, whether your opponents are at the non-volley zone line or in the transition zone, or even further towards the baseline, keeping your balls that you hit near their feet will win you a lot of points and force a lot of errors. So let's first talk about dinking up at the non-volley zone. When you're up at the non-volley zone and also your partner, lots of players like to target their dinks in the middle of the non-volley zone, which actually gives your opponent a lot of time and a lot of space so that they can hit the ball wherever they want. So instead of that, if I'm up here, whether I'm dinking straight on or cross court, really pushing my dinks or rolling my dinks towards my opponent's toes is not only going to make it more difficult, but it's going to force them to make a tough decision. They're either going to have to take those balls out of the air, or they're going to have to let it bounce, and they're going to have to create space off of the line. So in either scenario, if I'm aiming for their toes here, I'm making them hit a low volley, or I'm actually pushing them off of the line and making them play defense. Now, let's take the scenario where I'm at the net and one or both of my opponents are in that transition zone. When they're in the transition zone, I even have more court to hit into. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see players making is they're keeping their opponent back, but they're actually setting the ball kind of right in front of them. So this is not what I want to do. If I have either of my opponents in transition, I want to make sure that I actually hit my balls right at their toe line. Again, just like the dinking scenario, this is going to force them into a tough decision. And not only that, but they're going to be hitting from such a low position and they're far away from the net. And now that's going to force some errors and maybe set up some pop-ups so then I can actually apply more pressure at their feet again. Now let's talk about the scenario where your opponents are at the baseline. Obviously, their feet are technically out of bounds, but I do want to try to keep my balls as deep as possible and as close to that baseline as possible so that they're actually hitting the ball furthest from the net. If I can consistently keep every ball and keep them pinned back at the baseline, it puts me and my partner in a huge advantage as I have a lot of angles here that I can hit from the net, and I can be in a really strong position as I keep my opponents back. Now that you know how important it is to actually get the ball down at your opponent's feet, I go more in depth on this as well as every shot in pickleball in our new course called Total Pickleball Mastery. If you'd like to check that out, check the description below or go to totalpickleballmastery.com. All right, important strategy number 2, which works at every single level, and that is keep more balls towards the middle more often. So why is this? We're going to talk about the 3 major benefits of hitting the ball towards the middle of the court. Number 1, you have the lowest part of the net. No matter if I'm at the baseline or in transition or here up at the kitchen line, the lowest part of the net is still in the middle, and this gives me a lot of margin as I aim for that middle shot. Reason number 2 of why hitting towards the middle is strategically a really smart play is that it will limit my opponent's attacking angles. So what does this mean? Well, every time the ball is near the sidelines, they can always hit the ball down the line, anywhere through the middle, or hit an extreme angle cross court. When they are receiving balls in the middle of the court, they really are limited to hitting towards the middle or towards the corners of the court. But if you and your partner are actually in the right position and you're shaded correctly, squeezing in the middle, it's going to be really hard for them to hit the ball near the sidelines consistently and keep that ball in. Third reason why going to the middle more often is a strategically smart play is because you will be cutting down a ton of your errors. As you hit towards the middle of the court, you're never going to miss wide, and also it could cause a little bit of confusion between your opponents as they have to fight over that middle ball. The third strategy that will win you more points, and not only that, but put you and your partner in the strongest position possible, is the strategy of shading or following the ball. Anytime you are up at the net with your partner and your opponents are either at the net In the transition or at the baseline, following the basic principles of shading will put you in the strongest position possible. There can be many nuances to shading alone, but to keep it very simple, if your feet follow the ball, you're going to be in a really strong position. So for example, if I'm playing on the left side and the ball is in front of me down the line in the corner, I have to make sure that I come over, follow the ball, and make sure that I have this down the line covered. And my partner, what they're going to do is that they're going to slide over and cover the middle as they follow the ball and move their feet as well. And on the flip side, if I'm on the right side of the court and that ball is in the corner down the line from me, I obviously have to make sure that I'm covering my down the line. And now my partner on the left side will make sure they follow the ball as well and that they squeeze the middle of the court so that they can help me out in the middle. These simple rules of shading alone will not only put you in a strong counter-attacking position every time, but it will also help you and your partner decide who takes which balls in the middle. So now that you know the 3 strategies that you can use to beat any player, here's the top 3 attacking strategies that you can use that all the pros use. And down here, check out our attacking masterclass or go to attackmasterclass.com.